So this is chill. This is a chill episode.
This is a chill episode of the Listen to Portraits podcast. The not consistently reoccurring podcast that will probably happen like once every few months.
Yeah, it just happens every time that you're here.
Yeah, or every time that I'm sure it'll happen in Montreal as well. But yeah, man, can you pass me that bottle opener?
That's a good catch.
Thanks, man. I'm gonna have to edit the camera cut off for that.
Yeah, this is a little bit of a off the cuff, very janky episode. We're kind of he's struggling with the bottle opener.
All right, here we go.
Here, pass it. We got a couple brewskis.
All right.
Trying to be loose.
Bruh. So, what's up, Josh? How you been?
I've been good. We had Namm weekend last weekend.
Yeah,
I'm a bit exhausted.
me too. I haven't quite recovered. I've been in California for a little while now. Been here for a few weeks, and then I did Namm weekend, and now I'm out of here tomorrow. Gonna be back in town.
I have a question.
Yes.
Is this the longest you've ever been in California?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I did 3 weeks this time around. The past few times have been 2 weeks.
Right.
Which is interesting because I feel like after the 2-week point, my sort of background anxiety about being in a different place is like gone.
Oh, really? So you're feeling a
I'm
little
feeling like
comfy.
pretty normal and comfortable and sort of like, which is interesting. So I feel like if I did this again, I would like to do it for longer.
I don't think I've ever stayed in a place long enough for me to feel comfortable.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like this is like an interesting feeling that I'm just like, driving around in LA and, like kind of going about my life and feeling a bit normal. So that's nice. But yeah, so lots happened since we sort of checked in, because the last piece of content that we would have posted where we were addressing the audience in this way.
Oh yes.
Is like
hello audience.
Yeah, is like the drip session stuff, which we filmed a while ago, and then the podcast, which we did last time I was here, which would have been in October. So there's been a lot of stuff. Drip is out. Buy High is out. The response has been really cool, really hyped about what's been going on. And and I came back here to do the Namm thing. That's kind of what's been happening.
Yeah. What we have some cool stuff coming. I kind of don't know when this is coming out. I don't think we know when this is coming out.
I think I'm going to try to turn this one around pretty quick because there's nothing to hide at this point. So I'm just going to edit and drop it.
Okay. Well, there is some stuff to hide, so I'm going to not say everything then.
Right. There's dates. There's secret dates of stuff. There's definitely more stuff coming. That's not a secret. But
What?
but I feel you, my guy.
But we do have things, and I don't know. I thought it'd be cool to kind of just talk about what's been going on for the last couple of weeks while you've been here. We've been doing a lot of stuff.
Yeah. Well. So I flew in to California on the 31st of March. It is now the 20th. I flew in and I was living with Giuseppe Gilardi for a little while. He's going to laugh at the way I just pronounced his name. I was living with him in Pasadena for a couple weeks and, been hanging out with the whole squad, hanging out with Josh, going to Iconic, going to Abasi, jamming and stuff, going to see the shows, doing the California thing. That's kind of what I've been doing. I mean, we dropped Buy High last week, right? So the Buy High has been out for like 10 days now, a bit over 10 days, 13 days, something like that. And that kind of all happened while I was here, which was pretty cool. All the sort of content around Namm, the social media stuff has been centered around, the content around Buy High has been sort of like featuring all the stupid stuff we've been doing at Namm. like standing around and staring into blank space. A lot of that happening.
Should also say that we are planning on doing the breakdown of the song.
Yeah, so the just like we did with Drip, we're gonna do a by high breakdown, which by the time this comes out will probably have been filmed. I think
Hopefully.
That's the if I'm on top of my shit, that's kind of what I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
And that one will be cool because we'll have Gabe on and whatnot. So we're gonna do one of those, and it'll be way more organized than this podcast is. Yeah, but other than that, I went down to Anaheim to do the Namm thing, hung out with a bunch of people. I managed to get like 45 or 50 of internet guitarists into one room, which was kind of cool. It's kind of a flex. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I'm kind of proud that I was able to organize this thing, because there was nothing going on that I knew of.
Yeah.
After the Namm show days, because there's usually a lot of performances and sort of like company after parties and stuff like that, sort of business things, right? Like, you know what I'm saying? But it seemed that nothing was going on, so I was the timing kind of worked out that when I was going up to people being like, hey, like, come to my Airbnb, they were just down to reach.
Yeah, it was like Namm was packed, but then it still wasn't full Namm. Like, there's tons of people, especially on that Friday. Friday was crazy.
Yeah, there was a lot of people at Namm, but the big players, the sort of big companies, were still kind of avoided the Namm show, which is fair.
Yeah.
And there were also a bunch of people that were on tour that would definitely usually have come down to Anaheim, because it's still like not in the correct weekend. Like, it's usually in January or February, but this time it was in April.
Yeah.
So it's still a little bit awkward. So I think next year will be as close to normal as we'll get. But it's definitely been a big hang. We got to hang out with the usual suspects, all the Abasi crowd, all the modern guitarists, basically. Whatever that label means to you, we definitely hung out with them.
It is cool to be around, like, to be able to, like, be in a group, and then you can, like, point to any one of the people in this group and be like, oh, you're, like, crazy. Oh, you're fucking crazy. Like,
that's basically what that hang was at that Airbnb. That was crazy. Yeah. Everybody there was either is like a prolific composer or a crazy player.
So that was cool. It was very interesting to see all those people that I don't ever see in real life. Mm-hmm. People that I only see through a little screen, where I'm like, oh, you're a real person. You exist.
Yeah, that's what it's about, man. It's kind of surreal, I mean, every time I've been to Namm, it's a little bit of a surreal experience that you're just walking around, like going to get a coffee or going to meet someone, and then you kind of do a double take, like, holy shit, was that, whoever, whoever, like, ridiculous, whatever, huge YouTuber or huge musician. Like, oh my God, is that Tim Pierce? Like,
yeah, I walked by Tim Pierce.
Me too,
and I was like,
dude.
Oh shit, it's Tim Pierce.
That's crazy, or whoever. It's just it's definitely surreal and a unique experience. But I definitely got tired of it, like, a few hours in.
Yeah, it's a lot of walking around and
a lot of
a lot of loud craziness.
Yeah, don't go to the drum area, anyone ever.
But it was cool. I feel like I had some weird moments at some of the booths where just people are weird. Like, owners of companies, they're just a bit
the music industry is definitely an interesting energy. And it's hard to navigate sometimes. But it's definitely cool. Like, I'm happy to be part of it.
Yeah. The day before your Airbnb gathering thing, I had a gig.
Oh yeah.
Over in LA that it was fun. It was a good time. It was crazy players, which is, always a great experience.
Absolutely. Yeah, it was a lot of fun to watch.
And then you sat in.
Yeah, I sat in, which was a lot of fun, a little bit nerve-wracking, but it kind of felt into place, like, once the playing started happening. It's, that's sort of sitting in with people you don't know that are world-renowned musicians, like it can kind of go in different directions. But this one I felt good about. So
I feel like this is something that we should touch on though, just like the world, that world, because I mean, we're prog guys.
We are prog guys.
I don't know anyone else that's in the scene that does that.
I don't consider myself a prog guy in the sense that like I just the only prog thing about us is that we just happen to write prog.
Mm-hmm. The only other person I could think of is Garska.
Okay.
But I guess he's also a guy who
can.
He plays prog, but he's not. I mean, I guess
he's
now
more
he's known as a prog
drummer.
guy, but like he comes from just a huge musical background, playing everything.
Yeah. So he can play everything, and the job that he has is just so hard that he's just fallen into the prog world,
right?
Like through the gig that he has.
So like for you, how different is the thought process when you're playing like prog music and when you're in an improvised setting with musicians you don't know?
Yeah. I mean, it's very different, and I think we've also fallen into that world in different ways, you and I, because I was definitely like a metalhead, like playing metalcore like throughout high school and stuff like that, and then it's only after I like went to school for music and sort of began to go to these sessions that I kind of fell into the world of the R&B funk fusion, typical genre of amalgamations of genres that happen in that improvisational setting.
Yeah.
And I kind of just like learned to do it by going to those sessions. I wasn't like a blues player that like then went to blues jams and stuff like that. I was like a metal kid that then started to learn that genre by playing it with people. So it's completely different in terms of the things that I play and the things that I would play. Biggest difference would be that like guitar is not the main focus, right? Like if you are jamming with a bassist and a drummer, trying to have like a heavier jam, let's say, which doesn't happen very much these days, but I definitely did that with my metal band when I was younger, sort of writing metal songs by improvising and jamming them.
Yeah.
So in that way, you're kind of jamming riffs and being loud and coming up with rhythms and all that stuff. Whereas the funk R&B, neo soul thing, gospel thing, whatever you want to call it, it's a lot more of guitar, writing sort of normal guitar parts, right? Like not metal riffs. You're writing sort of like funk guitar parts or R&B guitar parts.
Right.
Coming up with them, like sort of locking in with the drums, and the keyboardist maybe filling the gaps in what the keyboardist isn't doing, or filling around the vocalist, coming up with popcorn parts, whatever sort of guitar-esque language you want to fit in there. A lot of listening to the musicians and responding and stuff like that, being attentive. But yeah, it's aesthetically, it's a big difference. How do you think about it? Or is it less of a difference for you? Because you play this more than you play prog, I think.
Oh, I mean, I never play prog live.
Right. Well, there you go.
Like I've done it a few times with Garska, but other than that, I don't really do it. But also, I kind of, as a little background, I grew up playing in bar bands in a setting where they would just let me do whatever I wanted to.
Right. That's pretty cool.
I mean, of course, we were playing songs, so there was that structure, but then like, they give me solo sections and just like do whatever. Or maybe they wouldn't say do whatever, but I would do whatever anyways. and
they liked it, so they kept you on the gig.
Just sure. They liked it, maybe. So I grew up doing that, which is still different than the fully improvised thing. And then I only started doing the thing that like I did that you saw me do. I don't know, within the last 5 years maybe, and it's always been with Ian Roller,
right?
Because he invited me. He had this jam, which is coincidentally where we went on Thursday, which was Apotec.
Right.
But before COVID, he used to be able to. He would play there, I think, once a week or once every other week or something. Every Thursday, it would be Ian's Apotec jam. I didn't really know him too well. I knew of him through Garska, but one time I just went out, and then I just asked to sit in because I was like, "What is this? I've never even heard." I didn't know this was a thing.
Right.
I know in Montreal there's like the whole jam culture. I had no idea that even existed.
Yeah, the jam culture here seems to be very different than in Montreal. Because here it's a very much like, oh, like we're gonna call Josh to sit in, whereas in Montreal and in LA it's like you can't just sit in, like you have to kind of be in the circle a little bit to sit in. Like there are a couple jams here that are more open.
Yeah.
But jams in Montreal, the big jams are sort of hip places to go. They are open, where you literally sign up, and the host, my friend Shane, will like make an effort to get you up. If he doesn't get you up, if it doesn't work out the first time, he'll definitely get you up the second time you come here. And it's more of like, if you have stuff to work on and it isn't particularly great, like you just you get better as you come back. You know what I'm saying? Like, like bad jams happen. It's sort of by design of the way it's set up, but the good players keep coming back and keep getting better. Like there's a lot of players that I've seen, because I've been part of this jam culture in Montreal for like maybe the past like almost 8 years, like since I've been 18. And obviously I was like a little schmo. I didn't know what I was doing like back then. But there's players that I've seen like come up the past few years that like now are killing, that definitely like weren't sure of what they were doing back then. So in that way, it's a very like encouraging and forgiving scene, which it's not like that here.
Right.
But I think also the Montreal scene is a lot smaller, so it's able to do that. I'm sure if the LA scene was very welcoming and forgiving like that, you would have a lot more bullshit, garbage jams happening, which would take away from the performances, right? Like,
right.
Like the discussion I often have in Montreal is how to keep the level of the performance as high as possible without becoming sort of a boys club gatekeeper session, right?
But I remember even the first time I played at Ian's jam at Apotec, when I asked the guitar player, "Oh, could I sit in?" He was like, "Oh, who do you know?"
Right, that's fair. And I should also name drop the session I'm talking about. The session I'm talking about is the Grove MTL session in Montreal. That's happening. But yeah, no, I feel you. Like there are some things in Montreal like that, where like it's not a jam session, but people get invited to sit in.
Yeah.
And those are definitely cooler performances to watch, right? Like I don't necessarily go to those jam sessions to watch. I go to like hang out and then play and maybe have like a pleasurable experience with some people to like on stage sometime, and then I'll watch like when my friends go up and stuff like that. But the real performances where sometimes whole band will sit in are often a better show for me to watch. So it's kind of it's a give or take. Like luckily though, that session has become particularly popular and people come out to see the improvised music, which is really cool that it's not just all musicians in the audience. That's kind of been really cool to watch over the past couple of years.
I mean, that's definitely different than here. Because like here, if you go to a jam, every single person in the audience has their instrument with them.
Yeah, well, that's how it used to be in Montreal too, but it's only been like post-COVID that this particular event that I'm talking about has become really popular and sort of the thing to go to on Wednesdays.
Yeah.
Like all the university kids like go to that bar, and instead of going clubbing, they go to that bar where the session is happening. So it's really cool. I haven't brought you to that actually, because the one that I brought you to during the summer was the Jazz Fest version. So it was in a different room, and it was definitely the habitual crowd, but it was sort of a different thing. It was more organized. That was not a jam session. That was like you sat in. You didn't like sign up to go up and play.
That was a pretty big thing. I was very surprised by how many people were there.
Yeah, that was a big thing. But it's always a big thing. Every week it's packed like that. It's in a bit of a smaller room than that was at.
Yeah.
But so that sort of Jazz Fest version of that event was more closed and more of a performance. Like I had a rehearsal for that gig, which is not how it usually goes when I'm in the band for that session. It's more like we're playing these songs, like learn them and show up, or like, figure it out at soundcheck sort of stuff. Which is already like one step more organized than what you're doing, where yours is more like, oh, like here we go. Yeah,
but it depends on the thing. Like I've done the baked potato ones with Ian,
right?
With Ian Roller, and some of them we do have rehearsals. It's like if there's going to be actual songs, then we'll have rehearsals for it. But for the improvised stuff, it's just what happens.
Absolutely. That's part of the experience.
And some of that's good, some of it's bad, but that's, I don't know. I feel like it makes you a better player, or it just makes you listen harder.
Yeah, but it's also cool, like from the audience's perspective. Like I love seeing a killer band like kind of look for the thing for a while, only to end up a few minutes later in a place that is completely organic and just happened. Like it's kind of really cool to watch that happen. Obviously, there's a lot more. There's a nuance to how good that looking for it thing is. Sometimes it's a bit weirder and awkward, and sometimes it's kind of sick, and then it all comes together right away. It depends what the players in the band and how much listening is going on. But it's definitely like a really cool thing to. I really like watching that stuff happen.
So I would say that for anyone that's like really into prog and plays only prog, like try to kind of seek out other musicians and like maybe step outside of that a little bit and just kind of broaden, I don't know. Doing more improvised stuff, I think, makes writing prog more interesting.
Yeah, and that's actually a good segue into a subject I've had a few conversations about recently, about how like a lot of my friends that I've seen at Namm recently, actually, we've had the conversation of just like, oh, like I'm a bit burnt out of guitar, like I don't enjoy guitar, I don't enjoy music anymore, like it seems more like a grind, a bit more of a means to an end. And a lot of those people, what they tell me is that they're not playing with anyone. Right, like
they're in front of a computer.
Yeah, they're in front of a computer. Whereas for me, music making, whether it's in real life with my trio or my friends, or with Josh over the internet, or in a room like writing music, like it's about it's a very social experience for me.
Yeah,
and that kind of fuels my creativity and keeps me wanting more. Right, like playing music with people in a room in a sort of jam setting, whether it's informal or like in front of an audience. That is kind of the thing that I want to do the most of, like performing. So doing that has sort of kept me wanting more, right? Like, whereas writing music in front of a computer by myself is kind of something that I like doing sometimes, and something that I hate doing most of the time.
I feel like it's how I prefer writing most of the time, but I just need to balance it with getting out and being with actual people.
Yeah. It's I like it both, but yeah, if you're a player and you feel confident about your ability, play with some people and you might be humbled. You might discover some things that you want to work on. You might discover some things that you enjoy doing that you don't know about when you are just writing in front of the computer. Generally, it is a good thing for your artistry and your musicianship. I definitely recommend it, whether it is in a prog thing or in any other genre, right? In general, the sort of typical R&B, neo-soul, funk, gospel, soup of genres that happens in these improvisational settings might just be the best thing to improvise. Like what other genre would you do a completely improvised set in that would, like it wouldn't be prog, it'd be too loud and whack. It wouldn't be jazz, because
there's like
then
prog
it would just be free
adjacent
jazz
things you could do.
Yeah,
like the stuff that I'll improvise with long. You can kind of.
But are you fully improvising that stuff, or are you sort of jamming around ideas?
We've never done a show, but we have done like long jam things at his place. It's all in odd time, weird accent patterns, all that kind of stuff.
I feel like I'm not even that good enough to keep up with that. And when we do odd time stuff, I need to be like, pause, what is this? And then I'll be like, okay, cool, let's keep going.
It could be a bit. Yeah, there's for sure times where I'll stop and I'll be like, wait, how are you thinking about this? Like, can you just like break it down for me?
I definitely think like I've had like a lot of breakthroughs in progress with the odd time stuff in the past couple of years. Spending so much time with Josh. But hearing it and immediately being like, oh, that's this thing, I don't quite have yet. Especially with the fast groupings. Like I can do it and keep track of them when I know what it is, but hearing one and then being able to replicate it and play it is not sort of immediate for me yet. That's going to take a bit more time.
Yeah. Yes. So play more music.
Play more music.
something else that I think would be cool to talk about was we went to a show.
Which show did we go see?
We saw Intervals.
We did go see Intervals. Yeah, we went to see Intervals.
Which thank you, Aaron, for being such an amazing person.
Oh my God, Aaron is such a legend. Giuseppe, I was staying with Giuseppe for a while, and his flight got canceled last minute, or not canceled, but delayed to the next day. And we were all going to go see this Interval show, which was stacked, and no one could get added on the guest list because we're in LA and it's Namm weekend, so everybody's in town.
Yep.
And then Aaron was like, "Oh yeah, I'll see what I can do," and then got Giuseppe into the show last minute, which is like the closest to an impossible thing that I've ever seen happen.
Dude, it's I mean, even when we were there, you could see the place is sold out, right?
And it was a sold out show. We were on the guest list.
Even in the little area where you had to have like a pass, like an all access pass, that was packed.
Yeah. It was like industry night, as Aaron put it. But anyways, that show was sick. It was Intervals, After the Burial, and Spirit Box, which all amazing bands, great performances. It's crazy to see like how big the production level is of Spirit Box. I'm very happy for how well and successful they are doing.
It's very cool.
It's very, very cool.
I didn't know their catalog too well, but I think after the show, I started getting into Eternal Blue quite a bit, and it's
real good.
It's very good.
There's a reason why they're this big. Like they're just writing. They're just writing like amazing songs after amazing songs, and they dropped that song that they played at the show also. Into the Void, The Void, or something like that.
Yeah,
banger. But yeah, that was a great show and a great hang, and honestly, like the perfect way to end my Namm weekend. To be honest, it was kind of a great time.
Yeah, that was kind of cool. Ending it with some burritos.
Yeah, I was about to say the burrito hang was enormous.
Yeah, dude. In LA, you always got to end the show with the burrito.
Yeah, the burrito stand next to the venue, super sick.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But yeah, man. So that's kind of what's been up. Let's see what's coming. What are we up to?
What are we not trying to talk? Is there anything we're not trying to talk about?
I don't really care, honestly.
All right. Well, the next thing that we're dropping, should we just throw this in there for anyone who actually wants to listen to this?
Yeah, so I mean, at the end of the day, no one's going to get through the entire of this podcast. So if you just say things, like not a lot of people are going to hear it.
Yeah, so we're dropping a live playthrough of a Tigran Hamasyan song.
Yeah. Yeah, so we did a session last summer with my trio Horrible People
in Montreal,
and that turned out really good. So that's gonna drop in a couple weeks, and that's gonna be interesting.
It turned out really good.
I'm really happy about it. It looks sick too. It's like all the things worked out.
So we had a 2-camera setup. We're using had a couple guys help us out. We all lit. We lit the whole thing. Like it's a full-on production.
Yeah, and we went to the studio. It's all like all live takes, real drums, no headphones, no click.
Yeah, the opposite of modern prog.
Yeah, so that's gonna be really cool to see how people take it. And then actually I'm here with Josh today because we had some little loose ends to tie up so that I could upload the next single. So that's also locked and loaded.
Yes, which shout out to Clayton for all the help.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we did a photo shoot with Clayton King, and he absolutely killed it. He's like a wizard of everything visual.
Yeah.
He's very good at pictures.
Amazing guitar player too.
Amazing guitar player and terrific riffs. Guy. I think he's hilarious, and I'm impressed by his social skills. He will have a full-on conversation with anyone.
That is true. It's not easy to do.
It's not easy to do. And I was like this guy is sick.
Yeah, he can talk to people like someone who doesn't play prog.
Yeah.
It's a great skill.
Goddamn. Yeah, Clayton's great. And so all that sort of content is locked and loaded and a lot of stuff coming. I'm really excited to be in this cycle of release and hyped to see what comes next. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, me too. I'm ready for people to hear the direction that the album goes, because it's the stuff that we've released has been a certain vibe.
It's true, eh? People have no idea what's coming. All right, yeah, man. So I think that's a good place to wrap it up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my name is Joseph Anajar. We didn't do the introductions at the beginning of the episode, but it's whatever. It doesn't care. My name is Joseph Anajar. My Instagram is Joseph_is_rad. We have an Instagram for portraits. It's at Listen to Portraits.
Mm-hmm.
And we are on Facebook, YouTube, Spotify, everything. And yeah, subscribe and share and whatnot, and we'll be back with more content.
Yes. My name is Joshua De La Victoria. You can find me on Instagram at Josh De La. And then I'm also on YouTube. And yeah. Not Facebook, not so much.
No. I'm not on Facebook. I just shit post.
Yeah. Joseph uses Facebook for different reasons.
All right. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one. See ya.
Bye.